Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Phineas and Ferb, Day of Doofenshmirtz. This is a relatively... well, I don't want to call it shovelware, but you get the general idea. It's a licensed title based off a cartoon that I've never actually seen, so I don't get half of what's going on here, but I'm pretty sure I get the idea. There are a lot of things in this game, a lot of just weird out-of-the-way stuff, including the fact that you can actually tap enemies on the title screen here to actually bring them down. And see that counter in the top right? Yeah, they actually lock the Platinum Trophy behind you, killing at least 500 of these things. I don't know who would be bothered to stay on the title screen for that long. There's your options, should all be pretty obvious, and workshop, extras, and arcade are all just other random little things on the side. We won't worry about them for too long. We'll just go and hop right into the first level that I've got unlocked. There is a story in this game. I'm guessing the bad guy is Doofenshmirtz, because from what I know of this cartoon, from what I've played of this game, he is the bad guy. And he has somehow managed to turn all of the appliances in the city against their masters. Somehow. It's like the Tesseract from Transformers, but less weird. Loading times aren't great, honestly. It really does take a while. At least the levels are relatively lengthy and usually don't have loading screens, which is nice. Alright, we're here. So, this is the main mode of the game. They aren't afraid to pop out some random mini-games here and there. Like, for example, the majority of the second world was a really basic shoot-'em-up. But yeah, this still remains the main mode of gameplay. It's very simple. It's basically a twin-stick shooter, but without that much... what's the word I'm looking for? Without that much weight on the twin stick side of things. There's a little bit of platforming, a little bit of enemy shooting, and a little bit of puzzle solving. It's all very simple, since this is very clearly a game meant for kids. I can understand why it's as simple as it is, but, you know, if you're looking for anything even remotely difficult, you probably shouldn't be looking here. With that said, though, let's talk about the game and its controls. You move with the left stick, jump with the X button. Circle, square, and triangle don't do anything, at least on this part of the game. You can use the L button to slide around if you need to avoid enemies. It doesn't happen that often, but if it does happen, that's the button you need to use. Oh look, this has actually got stuff in it for us. Let's just swap guns and get it all out as nice and quickly as humanly possible. That should do it. And you fire using the R button, and you can aim using the right analog stick. Notably, aiming in this game is actually kind of painful. You don't really have that much control over where you're aiming. It can be hard to tell exactly what you're shooting at. They don't have that much in the way of useful aim assists, but thankfully, a lot of these weapons are actually pretty simple to use. Like, for example, the three I've got equipped right now are this mortar, which does a lot in the way of splash damage. This icicle gun, which actually fires off homing shots, and this basketball gun here, which actually bounces off walls. It's relatively useful, actually. You don't start out with these. You have to craft weapons as you go along, but I'll be able to show you them as we do. You do need a certain weapon to destroy certain things sometimes, but it's not that big of a deal. Usually they outline pretty clearly what you need to destroy anything in particular. You do also have the ability to swap between your two characters, which I believe are Phineas and Ferb, but I could be wrong on that one. Phineas is the one I'm playing now, and he's relatively quick, and he has the ability to equip a jetpack backpack, or it's like a little propeller backpack. It doesn't Oh, I need to jump off there, okay. It doesn't stick around for long, but it lets him fly over small gaps. But if you just tap the top left corner, you can swap, and when you do, you get access to Ferb. And Ferb is... well, he's alright. He takes more damage, just in general. He can withstand more blows before he dies. One thing you might have noticed, it hasn't actually come up too heavily yet, but there are cutscenes in this game which, you know, you meet certain characters who I believe might be from the show, and there are also comic strips at the beginning and end of every major set of levels to give you a little bit of extra story, but it doesn't really go that far beyond, oh, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is the evil dude, fix his evil doings. With that said, the game's got no voice acting at all. Now, for a cartoon-based game, you would think that they'd have the voice acting from the characters. Like, even if I remember correctly, they even had it on, like, that Muppets movie adventure game. Still, it just seems so weird that this game doesn't have any voice acting at all. Because you'd think that'd be something they'd put in to give it a little bit more... give it a little bit more authenticity. Even weirder, considering how good the game looks. Now, it's not the best looking game I've ever seen, but based purely on the intro animation, which appears to be almost directly ripped from, I believe, the opening sequence to Phineas and Ferb, the cartoon show, it looks the part really well. Like, you'll be seeing a bit of aliasing and stuff going on, jagged edges, maybe a performance drop or two, but nothing too over the top. You might be seeing some of that. But the actual game, it looks pretty decent. They've done a good job with the models. They look the part. The wandering machines and the gigantic Tyrannosaurus machine Rex that you have to fight off more than once actually looks great. I love the look of it because it looks so silly. I'll just actually get the mortar out there. Ooh. Nope, still screwed it up anyway. Thankfully, I did just hit a checkpoint. This game is very rarely punishing. There's one boss battle in the scrolling shooter section with an arcade machine that's actually really weird because they introduced one-hit kills there for no reason, but... with that said, the game itself isn't punishing at all. It's more than easy enough. You won't be that troubled to beat it in the slightest. But yeah, the bloody gigantic T-Rex that you have to fight as part of the story actually looks kind of amazing. I might have to go show him off just because he looks that good. There are boss fights in this game, but they're very few and far between. I think I've only had one with the T-Rex. I imagine I'm going to have another one with the T-Rex eventually because it did not die at the end of the chapter that it was introduced in, so I imagine that it'll show up again at some point. I'm going to just jump down here, it won't kill me. But yeah, the game itself actually looks pretty good, and the performance of it is fine. Even on the bigger levels, it only drops a little bit, and I'm willing to... considering that the game doesn't look like a shitty Flash platformer, and manages to relatively hold up its performance, I'll give it a break for the small performance drops I've seen. It'd be just nitpicking at this point. The only downside is that outside of like random stages out of nowhere, like the scrolling shooter stages I was talking about, and even then those aren't very diverse mechanically, so they aren't particularly interesting for very long. But the game just doesn't have that much in the way of variety to begin with. Some of these cutscenes are cute, but there's this one where you always pull out this gadget, which is literally just the fix everything for me button. And it repeats so many times throughout the first few levels that it gets incredibly repetitive. Come on, coin, thank you. So when a unique cutscene comes up, it's nice to watch it. They do a decent job with the animation and It has a nice sense of humor going for it. But yeah, the main problem with the game is that it's pretty damn boring. The lack of difficulty, general lack of variety in the enemy types, and just similar level designs overall with very simple puzzles really don't lend well to the longevity of the game. And it's not helped by the fact that they artificially add longevity to it, because in almost every level that I've played so far that has you on foot and wandering around, there's always been one secret area in the game, in the level, where you have to have access to a teleporter gun. And if the game didn't tell you that you need to find the 5 pieces of the teleporter gun in each of the game's 5 main worlds in order to actually unlock these, then I wouldn't know what the hell they were for. And I gotta say, it's kind of a shit mechanic, honestly, because you see tons of these little portals that you would normally use to go and travel around, that you use to go in between areas in order to get things like coins and the secret areas, of course. So it's incredibly annoying when there's a level that has them and you just have to wander right past them instead of actually accessing their areas. When they said they were going to have secret coins, in secret areas, I was like, oh, that'd be nicer, you know, something I have to, like, blow out of the way, Doom style, in order to actually get in there and see what it's like, but no. Most of them are just, you need the teleporter gun, which means you need all 5 pieces, which basically means you need to go and play the entire damn game, then come back later in order to get the 100%. And the fact that the game doesn't have that much variety to begin with really annoys me, because they really could have at least given us a little bit of a scavenger hunt to go for with more interestingly hidden secret areas, but it looks like they didn't. So yeah, that's an example of a level. They are mostly like that, as I said before. The second act up here, half of these are scrolling shooters. The one on the bottom left is actually an obstacle avoidance course. It's a little bit weird. And there is a boss fight with a giant arcade machine up in the top right, which is actually kind of neat, but yeah, I want to go take a look at everything else first. So we want to go to the workshop here, and the workshop has a few things you can do. You can buy costumes if you like. Unfortunately, they tend to lock a lot of the content to later levels in the game, so we need to go buy stuff in the shop, so we won't be able to show you everything, but that's where you go to change your costumes. Now, if you actually want to make new weapons in this game, because that is the thing you can do, if we tap the bench in the bottom left, we can see our batteries, our money, and our screws. Our screws we get from enemies, our coins we get from picking them up in the world, and our batteries we also get by buying them with those coins, so it's kind of strange. So you can see here that there's a bunch that are missing, and that applies for all 3 of the weapons. Easy enough. So if we get that in the bottom right there, we can buy batteries and we can buy weapon chips. Now these weapon chips cost money, and we need to combine them. We need to combine batteries and screws in order to turn these into something useful. So we're just going to buy all the new weapons we can buy here, because why not? No reason not to, really. As far as I can tell, the only advantage is well, I mean, some of the might have advantages. Like I can predict that arrow there being piercing, but then again, you never know with this sort of thing. So you buy them and you buy batteries, and you will need batteries, so you might as well get batteries. We'll come back to... Actually, no, hang on. Let's go buy a costume or 2 if we can. Yeah, we can buy a Phineas costume, but not a Ferb costume. That's odd. Yeah, now that we've got some batteries, if we go back to the PC, we can see our chips in the top there. We can see what we need on the right and on the left. So we just drag that in, we drag the screws, and we drag the batteries. If we've got the right amount, we can create us a new weapon. It seems against the point to me to need me to actually buy batteries. I'm not entirely sure why you need to buy batteries. Why not just let me use money? Batteries? There we go. I'll have to go back to the inventory. Mainly because I have to go buy more batteries, because you can't know how many batteries that you need, and unfortunately for me, I am 1 battery short, because of course I am. So let's just go buy some more batteries. Bit weird that you can only buy them in stacks of 5. Or individually, of course, but still, it'd just be more useful if I could immediately turn batteries into money on this screen. Strangely enough, there is no shortcut to the shop down there. I wonder why that is. No, I probably should have gone back to the inventory. Let's just go equip that new shop before we do anything else. And we'll go and we will put the new costume on Phineas. Kinda neat, although my furry sense is tingling and I should be running away. There is one more thing you can do while you're here though. If you go to the robot section, you can actually buy things for the robot. You might be wondering, what fucking robot are you talking about? There hasn't been a robot yet. You'll see shortly. We're about to go to him. So you can come here and you can buy all sorts of things for your robot. So now if we head back out to the main menu, there is an extras option. And you might be thinking, oh, this will be neat. Maybe you'll let me watch like clips from the show and little behind the scenes notes for the game, you know, stuff like that, right? Stuff that you look at once, you never look at again, but you don't mind having looked at it in the first place. No, this is actually quite different. You want to see my desk? Trust me, this will make more sense when the game actually loads. Look for a floor full of color. Yep, this is the robot. And he can dance. We can also customize him if we like. I'm really not sure why this is a thing. I'm guessing that, yes, I actually keep the game mirrored on, like, all my monitors. Like, look at this. Hang on, I'll just move my chair back a little bit, and you can see that I mirror the game on all 3 monitors, because that's just the way I do things. But yeah, that's basically this entire mode. I'm really not sure why the dancing robot is a thing. Assumedly, you can take screenshots with the... Yes, you can. Alright. But yeah, that's basically that entire mode. You just dump coins into it for more customizability for your robot. I don't know. Seems unnecessary to... Seriously? This is a physical cartridge. I'm not even kidding on that. Look, see, top right. It's a physical cartridge, not even a, It's not even digital. My memory card should not be screwing up this bad. That is bizarre. What's that about? Alright, we're back. One more thing to go and explore, and that's the arcade. Now, it tells you how many coins you got in the bottom right. You can actually access the shop here, even though it seems unnecessary. And the one last thing they have for you is this arcade machine over on the left, who looks incredibly pissed off. So, he charges you money to play an arcade game. This arcade game is incredibly simple. That purplish, pinkish ring down the bottom there tells you where dudes are coming in. You zoom your cursor up to the dude and fire away to destroy it. you'll only need one hit under the levels that I was bothered to play, because this is it. You just move around and you shoot them, and every enemy you destroy gives you 25 credits. So if you destroy 4 enemies, that's it, you're done. You do have to pay a 100 coin fee for every individual level that you play. With that said though, the waves only get more and more numerous. So the more you play, the more money you get. And playing like, what, 10 levels of this would be more than enough to outfit you for a majority of the game. With that said though, the game is incredibly boring. I've been through the first 5 or so levels, and I haven't gotten much other than just dudes flying towards you, not much in the way of challenge. The analog stick might be a little bit oversensitive with how fast your lasers fire and the fact that you only need one direct shot in order to actually kill anything. It makes the game more than easy enough, and you don't even die instantly. Like, you've got a health bar down the bottom there underneath the coin counter. You see it? It's got like 16 sections to it. It takes out 2 every time you get hit, so it's more like 8, but still. It's incredibly easy, and you get a fuck ton of coins from it. You will never be low on coins if you just play a few rounds of this. I'm not going to. I already did, and I was bored to tears after like 5 minutes. So, yeah, that's my phone. Why on earth is my phone going off? Really need to stop those comment emails, right. So if we hit play again, we'll go play one more level and then we'll call it. Looks like this one's going to be a little bit more interesting than just a general wander around and shoot stuff sometimes. You can tell it's not going to be one of those levels by that little start screen that tells you there's going to be no scrap on the... No scrap or secret areas. That generally means the levels are going to be a little bit more interesting. And as you can see here, there's no voice acting. Because it's a bloody minigame. Fantastic. Okay. This reminds me of, what's it called? Cement Factory. Mario's Cement Factory? Oh, I actually have to be there at the end, okay. You know what? Screw this noise. Fucking screw that noise. That's a stupid minigame, honestly. To be a main level. Let's go fight the gigantic T-Rex. That sounds much more interesting. But yeah, if you couldn't tell, yeah, fun at the fair. It's gonna take a little bit of effort to get through, but it's fine. But yeah, it's not really worth your time. I'm gonna forget it completely once this video is done, and you probably should too. It's not really that interesting. It's one of the better looking Vita games that have been put out. Well, I say recently, but this game's 4 years old. It's been sitting in my cupboard for about that long too. So, well, not that long, probably more like 2-3 years. But yeah, this actually came out physically in Australia, and it was incredibly cheap when I went down to EB Games one day, and I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'll grab it anyway, just for historical sake, make it so that I'm actually... Make it so that I'm just a little bit close to having played every single Vita game. So what do our new weapons do? Wipe the floor with them, god damn. Probably gonna need this. Oh, right, they want me to actually put everything out there, though. And you can see back there, that's a teleport. That little glowing blue ball there, yeah, that's the thing that they require you to... That's the thing that requires the teleport to get to, the teleport gun. And I somehow managed to miss the second piece of the teleport gun as I was going through the second world, so... Anyway, this is the giant T-Rex. Monster truck. Yes, really. Could probably put that in a freaking Monster Hunter game and nobody would care. Oh, apparently I completely ran out of ammo from that. How bizarre. Let's just, Did I just take it down one? Yep. Well, I guess those new weapons are good after all. What's, Oh, it's just a shotgun. Okay. But yeah, screw it. I don't want to play this anymore anyway. There's no bloody point. But yeah, that was a look at Phineas and Ferb, Day of Doofenshmirtz. It really isn't worth much. It's a shame. It looks alright, it looks the part, but the actual gameplay is pretty damn boring. The long levels with low variety really don't help, and the minigames are relatively boring. So yeah, don't bother. Don't bother. You've seen everything there is to see. Shitty minigames, long levels with not that much variety and kind of annoying decisions for the gameplay mechanics. And that's about it. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video off now before the game decides to crash again. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.